Good evening, and once again, coming to you from Power Prep Sports Network, bringing you Stan and the coach. And it has been a long couple of weeks. Schools have been going to spring break, and all of that's been winding down. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. No guests coming on tonight, but we're going to have our number one, the original. If I can get Stevie's over there messing with his heart, we'll go ahead and bring him in. The original coach, Coach Greg Ennis. Stevie, where's the heart, man? Uh, he's dusting off his fingers, Coach.
Well, tell him to use his toes.
Stevie, Coach said use your toes. All he did was nod. If everybody remembers last week that we lost you, we were talking with Coach Cassidy from OP, and we lost you because you were out and about.
I was on a Bigfoot hunt
You were on a Bigfoot hunt
in Coon Ridge Tower.
and and now look, Stevie, we didn't ask for it right now, but we'll do it again. The original, the Coach Greg Ennis, once again. Stevie,
He's such a jackleg. He's such a jackleg.
that's good, Stevie. When Stevie gets going, it's hard to get him to stop.
He's a jackleg.
Yeah, he's jackleg. Well, Coach, tell us about that because we lost you, and some reports had that you had one skinned up in a tree.
No, we didn't actually have him skinned up. However, we did hear some wood knocks, some whistles, a howl, and we got a plaster cast of what we think may be a Bigfoot hand in the mud where he slipped down and caught himself as he was falling.
Well, about how big you think that hand was?
It was about like that.
It was out there.
Yeah, yeah. The finger on it, the index finger. I'm not going to show you which one, but the index finger on it was at least 12 and a half inches long.
Good night.
From palm to tip. Now I realized it was in the mud, so you're gonna have a little bit of distortion there, but it was amazing. You could see the ridge lines in the palm.
Okay, so did you see any of those knocking sticks that they hit the trees with?
No, but we heard them. Sounded like that.
So what was it?
Can you hear that?
I can hear that. Was that a distinctive pattern, or was just a knock?
No, it was random. It was random. However, you could definitely tell that it was bipodal.
Bipodal.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
2 legs.
There's 2 legs. Okay.
Yeah, bipodal.
I didn't know if you was throwing out some of that.
Hey.
When you were out there, did you get that distinct smell you usually catch a whiff of when one's around?
Oh, yes.
And I described that smell too.
It was a cross between day old mullet guts and a wet cocker spaniel.
Well, I don't know if I'd want to get that smell on me. That'd be a little rough.
It was, but
I wouldn't take that off.
It made me. I mean, I thought I was gonna get sick there, but we heard some whistles. I can't whistle. and then we heard some whoops, whoop whoop, and then we got the odor, and we found, like I said, the palm print.
Well, that
We
might
made a
have.
cast of it with Play-Doh, but it didn't work.
Well, you still may have to take what you got this summer up to the Bigfoot conference.
I plan on it. I think
Yeah.
I'll be, I'll play a big part in that Bigfoot conference.
Well, I mean, just recent encounter, recent sighting.
No, I think so. I think it'll be big.
Well, last week talking with Coach Cassidy, we got baseball and softball a few weeks away from being able to decide who's going to be area and runner-ups and decide who's going to be going to playoffs in baseball, and those softball area tournaments is getting down to the wires. That means school's about out.
I know. Can you believe it's already been almost a complete school year?
I cannot, and when's the last time we heard anything about COVID?
About what?
About COVID.
I can tell you it was before Joe Biden went in the hospital.
When did that happen?
When he couldn't stop Putin.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
No, you didn't. I tricked you on that one.
Well, yeah, there's other things around the world that's kind of taking.
It's hard to be worried about COVID when you're paying $9 a gallon for gas.
Yeah, the inflation, and we talked about that before, how that's going to affect schools and travel. It affects each one of us with grocery store and gas just to get to work, and
Did you ever get your moped?
No, I'm still looking on Craigslist and eBay, and I haven't found one for the right price. So I believe that they're antiques, and folks are wanting a lot more money for those things than I'm willing to pay. I might as well buy me a motorcycle.
Or a horse.
Well, that horse might be more expensive feeding them.
I know what. With the distance you travel, you could just get a goat and wagon.
Be Amish.
One of them little two-wheel wagon, like a chariot, kind of.
He's on a rickshaw. I could get somebody to pull me to work every day.
Get you a goat. Hook it up to a goat. I'd pay to see that.
Yeah, Stevie's got the horses now. He thought about hooking some cats up to it. But yeah, might have to get a little rickshaw or a little chariot or something.
I got to tell you this. When you're talking about that, you know how these animals, sometimes they'll get injured, and they'll have like dogs with 3 legs, and they'll call them tripod and stuff like that. Yeah, I saw one on the World Wide Web. It was a cat whose legs was paralyzed, and they had this little harness that they put on it that had wheels on it that rolled. Those little front legs would run, and then the wheels would turn. It's like a little chariot, and the cat's name was Ben Purr.
That's terrible, Ben Purr. Oh, Ben Purr. Oh, well, Coach.
When they were showing it, you could hear the little wheel squeaking as he was running down the hall.
Oh, Ben Purr. Oh, Ben Purr. Well, last week in the spring break for me, had a chance to go out and visit Goshen High School last Friday night to their big fundraiser, Slam Down in G-Town. They had professional wrestling in Goshen.
How'd it go?
Well, they had 6 wrestlers there.
Did they have hippie boy yet?
No, but they had a 72-year-old Michael Action Jackson.
He was wrestling on Dothan Championship Wrestling in the 80s.
Yeah, well, he was there. He was the main event, and
The main event.
72. He was the United States Junior Heavyweight Champion, and he may have weighed $140.
You sure he wasn't the Intercontinental Ballistic Champion?
Well, he wrestled a luchador. He wrestled the high flying Hector Garza. Never heard of it.
Wasn't there another wrestler during his time? His last name was Jones.
Oh, something Burr, something.
I can't remember. Some of y'all look it up. His last name was Jones.
Teddy Bear Jones or something.
I don't know.
They also had the first match of the night, which really got things cranked off. And if this guy hadn't been there, it'd have been a total dud. His name, well, first of all, he's about 5'10", and he weighed about 350 pounds. And he come out in one of those Speedos.
He's a big old boy, huh?
Yeah. His name was, he had a unique wrestling name. His name was Larry.
Just Larry?
Larry D.
Just Larry.
Larry and the letter D. And he come out in a denim vest. It had Larry D on it. He had a bandana that said Larry. On his tights, his Speedos was Larry. He come up in the stands, Coach. My boys got scared.
I bet.
He come up there and he was trying to get the crowd going, and everybody got behind him. Now, his opponent, let's see if I can describe
When they got
him.
behind him, did it block the sun?
Well, they had a good crowd in Goshen. I'd say they had probably close to 300 in attendance.
I thought you was gonna say 30.
No, they had the bleachers in the gym on that side. They were pretty full, and they had 2 or 3 rows of seats around the ring. That I mean, there wasn't too many empty seats there, but they had a good night. But Larry D wrestled the Maniac, and to describe the Maniac, he had on some bright neon green tights, black boots, and a black top shirt. On his tights, he had black question marks on those neon green tights. I heard
like
somebody.
The Joker?
Well, no, I heard somebody scream, "Hey, dude! The Riddler called and he wants his pants back."
Are you sure you wanted one of those parades down in New Orleans?
Well, and the guy heard the guy say that to him, and he turned around and told him to shut up. That's when he come walking right toward us, and boys got down on the floor. Dad, he's gonna come get us. I was like, he ain't gonna get us. But the other thing, I tell this other part, my son, he was like, Daddy, that guy's Rey Mysterio. Was going back to the luchador. I said, that is not Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio wears a mask. I said, I seen him on TV. And I know what he looks like. He said, well, how do you know what he looks like? Well, sitting in front of us, on the next row in front of us, there was a guy. He had to be at least 600 pounds. He took up 3 seats. He had on a Green Bay Packers Brett Favre jersey that could have been a fitted sheet for a king-size bed. Well, when my son asked me, how do I know that wasn't Rey Mysterio, I said, just the same way I know that ain't Brett Favre in front of us. It took him a minute to figure it out, but when he did, that's all. He laughed about that the rest of the night. He said, Daddy, that ain't Brett Favre.
Oh.
But that was a detailed description of that fella. Big old fella. big old fella. He loves wrestling too. But I think Coach Moore and them over at Goshen, they had a good night. We did leave after. I think they had a battle royal on another match. We left after just a couple of matches because it was already after 9 o'clock, and we had an hour drive of getting home and and things like that. But we had us a good time. It was cheap entertainment. It cost us more to drive up there and drive back than it did to actually watch the event. But it was fun. Fun to go out. But there's been a lot of coaching changes coming and going, assistants and head coach wise,
There
coach.
has, Greenville just got them a new head coach.
Yeah, a championship coach
from Pike Road.
I reckon why you leave Pike Road. Not that Greenville's a bad job, but they had a lot of athletes and a lot returning.
Yeah, I heard that's one of the reasons he was leaving. Because a lot of them athletes didn't have the right address.
Well, that could come back and bite you a little bit.
Yeah, and from what I understand, that may be a little problem they're going to have to deal with. And they've had a lot of administration changes. The principal left to go to, I think, Sylacauga as the superintendent. The superintendent of Pike Road, Chuck Ledbetter, he left and took the superintendent job at Pelham. So they've had a lot of turnover in the administration, and I've said on here before that before you can have a championship program that's going to last for years, not just a season, you got to have a great administration. And I'm not saying the ones that's there right now is not great, but anytime you have a lot of turnover, you've got new ideas, you've got new people coming in with different ways to do things and different ideas about things, and I just think it was more than he wanted to deal with.
Right. Well, I mean, what do you think he's going to bring to Greenville because they're always loaded with D1 talent every year.
I personally think he's probably going to bring his recruiting coordinator and start hitting Georgiana and McKenzie. And, other than that, I don't know that his style of offense is going to be very well suited at Greenville that he was using at Pike Road.
Well, one thing, I mean, Greenville's been very talented on the field, but they have not had the kind of running backs that he had at Pike Road.
That and
a quarterback.
The quarterback he had at Pike Road was basically a tailback that could throw the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that that style of offense is going to fit in well at Greenville. I may be wrong. I doubt it, but I just don't think it's going to fit in well there. I think he's going to have to adjust his offense some to the personnel that he has at Greenville.
Well, I know that they're always blessed with a lot of speed, and they play physical football, and so I mean, we'll find out what he can do.
Well, and I don't even know this. I don't even remember. Is Greenville 4 or 5A?
They're 5A. I think they lost in the second round this past season.
Yeah, so they're 5A. What did Andalusia went down to 4A? Didn't
Andalusia went down to 4A. So
I'm gonna tell you, I got to looking at some of those kids at Andalusia and some of the ones coming back. To me, they're the number one team in 4A. I don't care what anybody says. Talent wise, I don't think I've ever seen an Andalusia team with this much talent. They've got a Division I running back. They've got several Division I players on that team, and I just think I think it's theirs to lose.
Well,
Uh,
I would totally agree with you, Coach, and I think that folks say that Andalusia recruits. Uh, if you're coming out of Florida, I don't know who's recruiting down in Florida. But, they've had a
Look,
couple of kids come out of Florida, but they moved.
it's just like that old baseball movie. If you build it, they'll come.
Right.
And they've built some of the best facilities in the state, and kids want to be a part of it.
And plus, they go deep in the playoffs every year.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a top quality high school football player, and and you don't care where you play, then that's a great place to go. I
Yeah,
mean,
I think you go all the way back to uh, when Ethan Wilson was playing. They've at least been to the third, as far as to the third or fourth round every year.
yeah,
Uh,
they just can't
so,
get over that hump. But
no,
they look,
they might this
they ought to
year.
be able to get over it this year.
Well, they got the pieces to do it. So they stay healthy. Uh, just got a message right here from Richard Tisdale, former head coach at Slocum. I think he's probably glad he stepped away for a little while, since they did move up to 4A in that region with Andalusia.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
I mean, you look in this area, then Andalusia is like I said, it's Andalusia's to lose. I think they ought to have an easy time getting to the semifinals.
well,
Uh,
we do talk about a lot about the skill guys, but it starts up front on both sides of the ball. And Andalusia has 5A top linemen
oh yeah,
playing 4A,
uh,
going to be playing
but
4A.
but Coach Wyndham does a great job with those offensive linemen. He
He
really
does.
does. But you look at what all's going on just in this area around us, like you were talking about. We've got Ott right down the road, who's basically cleaned out, and Coach Dubose is fixing to have to get almost a entirely new staff.
Yeah, got rid of 3 seasoned guys there.
But they're fixing to have some major coaches changes there. And with that, you're gonna have new styles, new ideas. Sometimes change isn't all bad.
Right.
Maybe this will help get them over the hump, or it's gonna send them tumbling down the hill, one or the other.
Right.
You got Andalusia with all that talent. You know, you look around at the changes, and from this area alone, we talk about how good the football is in this area, and then you look at somebody like Jamie Dubose, who is from Ott, that just took the head coaching job in Orange Beach.
Orange Beach.
Uh, and I don't want to speculate on numbers or anything, but from what I understand, it's probably one of the, if it's not it's in the top 3 highest paid coaching jobs in the state.
That's
And Jamie's from right here in Covington County. The football that is around here is just it's awesome. I mean, it really is. It's really good.
well, just right here around Andalusia, off Andalusia, and then right up the road you got McKenzie. I think they're going to be a surprise in 1A, and you got Brantley, Laverne. and Highland Home, all three of those schools in Crenshaw County. Then you got your Greenvilles, and then you T.R. Millers and your Flomatons, and I expect W.S. Neal to be better.
Well, all those teams you just named, I'm telling you, it's pine trees. The more pine trees, the better the football.
Now, you notice I didn't really say a whole lot of teams over in the Wiregrass.
Well, when you start getting away from pine trees, you start losing the quality of football starts going down, I believe. But I can say that because if you look at state championship winners and even semifinals, you just don't see a whole lot coming out of the Southeast.
Well, Enterprise made a good run. They got a new coach over there. Dothan High's got a new coach. Slocum. Hartford, I don't think they've named it. Geneva County High, I don't think they've named anybody yet. They Jim Bob Stripling was there. Charles Henderson. I think they lost a little bit. Players maybe to Pike Lib. Usually has a strong team there. There's big changes, and we'll see how these folks play out. But I think the one to watch, like you said, is going to be Andalusia.
Oh, I don't see anybody giving them any competition until they get to at least the semifinals.
You don't think that MA and what is it, Catholic?
No. I don't see anybody giving them any competition until they get to the semifinals. They have that much talent on this team this year. Now, I'll tell you another school that is the sleeper as far as talent goes. To me, it's going to be how they handle this situation with the coaches is Op.
Right. They had a lot of talent last year.
Well, what Op has got, where they're going to be lacking right now, and they've got to do a really good job and be careful about this, is with the offensive and defensive line. Their skill players match up pretty much with anybody in their classification. But, from top to bottom, skill, non-skill, on the defensive side, all of that together, special teams, nobody in this area, and I'm going all the way to Greenville and Enterprise and Dothan with this. I don't think anybody matches Andalusia's talent wise.
Well, that's a big statement, Coach. But
Well, I don't. I mean, just from what I've seen, and I mean, Andalusia should be real excited about this coming year.
Well, we did mention recruiting. The running back there, you mentioned earlier, Burnett from Andalusia. I believe he got an offer today from Alabama.
Yeah.
And that's just one of many.
Well,
I say, I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of talent, and I would say he's a Division I player. I think the one thing that he has to work on and you've seen it, I'm sure, that a lot of times on some of his runs, he would get hit below at the knee or below, and he'd go down too easy.
Well, the thing he does though, and you're right, that's something and that's just going to come with some maturity and some time in the weight room to fix that. But the one thing he has that you can't coach is he has that explosion through the scene.
Yes, he does. It's like a rocket.
When from the time he sees the scene till he's into the scene is I mean I don't know that I've ever seen a running back like that in this area. I'd have to go back to when Opp had Horsted and Brannon. When they had those two, then that they had that kind of acceleration and that kind of speed. But that was in the early '80s. So, so that tells you what kind of talent this kid has. And uh, Horsted went on and had a pretty good career.
Not bad. Well, also
No,
spring
I'm
training.
sorry, not Horsted. Tim Jesse.
Well, Tim Jesse.
Horsted was at Elba and played at Alabama.
And he wasn't bad either.
No, he wasn't bad either. But yeah, I was talking about Tim Jesse. When Opp had Jesse and Brannon in the backfield together, they had two Division I running backs in the backfield at the same time.
They should have won it all, shouldn't they, Coach?
They had some pretty good players. Jesse went to Auburn. They had Ed and Alex Sperling. Both of them went to Auburn. Brannon went to, I think, Tennessee State. I think he went to Tennessee State, and then went on and got asked to training camp with the Bears, I believe.
Well, I remember growing up, them two were like football gods when you saw them when you were a little kid. They were celebrities.
Oh yeah. Well, and see, Andalusia's got the talent from top to bottom. I've already said it, and I don't mean to keep harping on it, but I do. I think talent wise, they've got as much talent from top to bottom that they match up with Dothan, with Enterprise, with Greenville. They match up with all those schools. So in 4A, I don't see anybody that's close.
Well, spring training around the corner. I talked with Strawn's head coach, Coach Gilcrease, this morning. They're going to be playing Geneva, I believe the 12th of May in a spring game.
We need to get Les on here and talk about that. I like talking to Les.
Yeah, get Coach Sanders from Geneva.
Les is always, if you listen to Les talk, his team is barely capable of getting off the bus at the game. Yeah. I mean, they're barely capable of getting off the bus, and he seems to always pull out a good season.
Yeah, we need to get Coach Sanders on here and ask him when he's. I think he's getting close to retirement. You always hear him talk about he's going to retire. I said, you ain't old enough to retire yet, Coach.
He's been saying that for the last 12 years.
Yeah. What about your pipe, Coach? When are we going to see the pipe?
I've got a hit on the pipe.
Got the big moose horn, elk horn looking ivory tusk.
It's the Sherlock Holmes looking, and I think I'm not sure. I've got a what do they call it? Not a clue. I'm close.
You're close. Well, I know that our fan base is not replied or sent us any leads on any pipes, but
I don't know if that'd be politically correct if they did that. And you know how politically correct I am.
yeah, I do. Uh, Speaking of that, I know that you keep up with world events and a little bit of politics. And normally we don't talk about politics, and but I want to bring this up because I watch it now, Coach, and I feel sorry for our president because I don't think he's in a a mental state to be doing the job that he needs to be doing. But some of the things that comes out of his mouth, I have to laugh at. And I don't know if you heard the little excerpt that he talked about the computer saying if you're on the train and it stops at Portal Bridge and you need to get off. I don't know what he's talking. It's just out of nowhere.
Bless his heart. He don't know, Kay Ivey said it best. Bless his heart.
Bless his heart. But
I mean, he's every time I watch him on the news, I have to remind myself this is not a Saturday Night Live skit.
yeah, that and some of the other cast of characters up there. I have to ask myself about the 80 million people who voted, but that's it. I'm gonna quit talking about politics.
Well, I do. I just I have to look and go, is this a Saturday Night Live skit? And not only that, I do have to tell you a quick story.
All right.
And well, it's not quick. None of my stories are quick. But anyway, the beautiful Miss Olivia ordered some flea and tick treatment for our puppy and our cat, and she ordered it from Chewy, the company Chewy.
Oh, Chewy.
Yes, and she put down our address and ordered it, did all that. Well, while she was picking up the children from school, she got an email to confirm the order and give a confirmation number to her. And she opened the email up at Andalusia Elementary School. Now the delivery address on the box was our address at home. Yesterday, when I went to check our son out of school. I went to the school, and when I was in the office checking him out, the secretary said, "Aren't you Greg Ennis?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Aren't you Dr. Ennis's husband?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Well, we have a package here for her. Can you get it to her?" And I said, "Well, sure." I said, "Is it what is it from the school?" So I pick it up, and it's from Chewy. I look on the where it needed to be delivered, and it said our address. But they delivered it where she answered she opened up the email on her phone, where she was at the elementary school when she opened up the email on her phone.
Now, how do they know
Twilight Zone stuff?
How do they even know that?
How did they send it to the elementary school? And look, I'm not making this up. You can ask the secretaries at the elementary school, whatever. They're the ones that handed me the package.
Who knows?
That's kind of strange.
That is a little strange. Just like Stevie playing the harp.
with his toes.
With
Is
his
he
toes.
left-footed or right-footed tonight?
He's amphibious. Isn't that right, Stevie? He's eating Funyuns right now, Coach.
Tell him not to get dust on the heart.
Well, he'll do his best. Well, Coach, that's one in a row. We're going to look to have maybe a guest on. I know we're about to kick off our rec league baseball. Is going to be hot and heavy, which we've already played a game. I know your team's waiting to play one, and we're sitting 1-0 right now, and
we're undefeated,
and y'all are undefeated, and we're 1 in a row as of tonight.
That's right.
Remember, you can follow us on Facebook at Power Prep Sports Network. Also on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can catch this amazing show on YouTube. Go back if you've missed other episodes. I believe this is episode 10, Coach. So we're winding down here. Only a few more weeks, and we'll take us a good break and enjoy our fruits of what we got going. But we do need your help. We need you to like and follow our pages and tell your friends what they need to tell them, Coach.
To watch us.
That's right, to watch us.
And if they'll send us some emails about what they want, we'll try to get it on.
We'll try to get it on. We're trying to do our best. Well, that's 1 in a row for Coach Greg Ennis. I'm Stan with Stan the Coach.